When I turned 30, I did something really radical. I decided to spend 1 year intentionally single. Why that's radical is because most of us are taught, especially as women, that if you are approaching 30 and if you have not met someone and settled down yet, then it's game over for you. And I know that so many people hold this belief because every time I post videos on TikTok talking about being single in my 30s, I get all kinds of comments from ignorant men telling me that nobody's ever going to want me after 30. So I'm here to dispel that myth because I think that if I had more positive role models earlier in life of what it looked like to do life on a different timeline beyond just marrying your college sweetheart and settling down and checking the boxes you're supposed to check at the appropriate times, if I had had more role models showing me of what different timelines look like, then maybe I would have felt a little bit better about investing in my relationship with myself earlier on, rather than just prioritizing being chosen by someone. So for a little context, my name is Megan. I'm a holistic and somatic therapist who specializes in love, self-love, relationships, and breakups. And I really enjoy helping guide people back home to their relationship with themselves, which is the most important relationship you'll ever have. Spoiler alert. It's kind of the foundation upon which all of your other relationships are built. I've been doing this work for a long time, and I've seen what it looks like when somebody is disconnected from themselves, self-abandoning, choosing people who aren't really aligned with their core values, and sort of settling for those cultural norms of being in a relationship just for the sake of being in one and avoiding loneliness. I've also seen what it looks like when somebody chooses themselves, and that's the path that I've chosen for myself. I am a romantic at heart. I love love, and I want everyone to experience the depth of intimacy that romantic relationship can provide, as well as having lots of wonderful friendships and community relationships. And even though I love romance and I love love, I still think that the relationship you have with you is the most important one you will ever have. So when I decided to spend time intentionally single, it was such a paradigm shift for me, going from being the girl who just wants to be chosen, the pick me girl, the choose me girl, the I don't have any wants or needs or desires or opinions of my own girl because I'm just trying to fit myself into whatever box you want me to fit into just so I will feel loved. Going from that version of me to the version of me who was comfortably and confidently single and actively not dating was a huge choice. It was a bold choice, and it was a brave choice, and one that I am eternally grateful for, because that 1 year turned into 3 years being intentionally single. And what I learned in those 3 years is something that I never could have gotten in relationship. Now, don't get me wrong, we learn an incredible amount about ourselves in relationship with other people. Relationships, I think, are one of our best classrooms, especially if you are present enough and self-aware to show up for the lessons, to grow, to learn, to evolve, to see how you show up, to see what your blind spots are and how you can love better. Relationships are a great classroom to learn that. And I think a lot of us have not done the inner work to build a foundation of relationship with self, self-identity, and self-discovery before we get into relationships. And that's really what spending a period of time intentionally single is all about. I hadn't done that for myself. I was either in a relationship or actively dating and trying so hard to be in a relationship, trying to find the one. I had never taken dating off the table and just focused on me. And it was a little bit uncomfortable at first. I anticipated that it would be, but that discomfort faded a lot faster than I expected to. And within that first year of my solo chapter, I got to the place where all of a sudden I didn't actually want a relationship in the same way that I did in the past. I knew that long term I had a desire for marriage and partnership and maybe family someday. I knew that was going to happen, and I was able to lean into the trust and the knowing that that was going to happen. And so for the time being, I had this new acknowledgement that I was never again going to be in my early 30s without the responsibility of partnership or family or marriage, getting to focus just on me and my life and my values and cultivating that beautiful, rich foundation for myself. I was never going to get that opportunity back again. And I started to feel the preciousness of that. Like my solo time was never lonely anymore because I felt so joyful and grateful for getting to experience life in this sort of more vibrant and amplified way that I hadn't before when I was just waiting for someone to show up and give me access to the feelings that I wanted to feel. So here's a few of the things that being intentionally single for 3 years taught me. First and foremost, it's that you are the only one who is there from start to finish. Even if you are in a long-term, lifelong partnership with somebody for decades and decades, which if that's what you want, I hope that you are. That will be coming for you if that's a desire that you have. Even if and when that happens, you're still the only one who's there from the start of your life to the end of your life. No one's ever going to get the chance to know you with more depth and intimacy than you get to know yourself. And there's beauty in letting somebody in, letting them see the vulnerable parts of you and building that emotional depth and intimacy. But that only really happens when you've done the work to get to know yourself first. And there's such a sweetness in learning to have your own back. When I learned that no one was going to come to save me, that it was really up to me to create the life that I wanted to have for myself, I felt like I had taken my power back in a way that I had never really accessed before. And that's something I hope you get to experience too. Another thing that being intentionally single really showed me in greater depth is that you will continue to repeat the relationship patterns from your past and from your childhood until you actively decide to change them. And it's pretty easy to attract different people who wear a mask that makes you think, oh, it's someone different, it's a whole different relationship, but really they're just a different flavor of the same pattern from your past. I've seen so many of my clients do that again and again and bang their head against a wall wondering why they don't have the kind of relationship they want to have, when the reality is they haven't gone back to heal the core wounds that led to those relationship patterns in the first place. Being intentionally single is a time in your life where you can invest in doing that. You can invest in being selfish, in prioritizing your own inner healing and your own values and desires and wants and needs over everything else. And most of us are taught that being selfish is inherently a bad thing, but being selfish doesn't mean that you don't care about other people. It doesn't mean that you're no longer a generous, kind, caring, loving person. It just means that you recognize that you have more to give when you have filled your own cup up first. And taking that time intentionally single, I think, was the first time in my life where I was actively filling up my own cup before tending to the needs of others, kind of like putting your own oxygen mask on first. And it's not a surprise that during that time in my life, I became physically healthier than I've ever been before. I was healing from a very intense bout of chronic illness, and by focusing on what I needed and filling my cup up first rather than saying yes to everyone and everything all the time, I gained so much of myself back. I gained my energy and my vitality back. I also felt happier than I ever had been at any other point in my life because I was no longer outsourcing my self-worth and my identity to someone else. And one of the most important things that being intentionally single taught me is that you don't have to put your life on hold until that special person shows up. You're the special person. You're the one who gets to create the reality you want to experience, and you don't have to wait for a partner to do that. Again, it's wonderful to share in life experiences with another person or with people in your community and friends. It's wonderful to experience the beauty and depth of romantic love. And you can romanticize the shit out of your life in the meantime. You can go on the trips you want to go on. You can take yourself to the restaurants you want to take yourself. You can pursue the hobbies and passions and projects you want to pursue. You can put on your favorite music and dance around the kitchen like I do almost every night when I'm cooking. And you can live this life that is full of romance and love, regardless of whether or not there is a partner there. That's a pretty radical shift for most people. And the cool thing, the amazing thing about having that realization, about stepping into that knowing that you don't have to wait, your life doesn't have to be on hold, is that your standard raises. You will no longer settle for a relationship that is unhealthy or a relationship that just isn't fulfilling, isn't the right one for you, because you believe and trust in your capacity to create the life you want to create, and you will only accept somebody who meets you there. You'll only accept somebody who enhances what is already there. You're not going to be in relationship with somebody who drains and depletes you if you have cultivated a life you love and gotten into the practice of self-fulfillment first. Now, there are certainly some challenges too, and I want to acknowledge those. I'd say one of the downsides that being intentionally single really revealed to me is that our society heavily emphasizes and places importance on relationship milestones as the thing we celebrate. You probably have seen this as well. How many of your friends' engagements and weddings and baby showers and housewarming parties with their new boyfriend or spouse have you been to and invested your time and energy and resources into celebrating them for, compared to how much you've been celebrated for your life accomplishments? Probably a pretty big gap. When I started to see that the things that we invest in celebrating people for in this culture are directly tied to relationship status, I made a choice for myself that I was going to start celebrating my own wins, big and small, as well as the wins of the single people in my life, just because it feels good. Just because it makes life more exciting to say, oh my gosh, I just, accomplished something that I've been working really hard at, or I've had a streak of taking really good care of my mental health, and I'm proud of myself for that because it was hard. I'm going to take myself out to a little nice dinner, or my friend got a promotion that she really wanted. Let's celebrate together and go out for a drink or a coffee and acknowledge and honor these moments of our lives that matter just as much as the people we celebrate for getting engaged and falling in love. Let's have parties for falling in love with ourselves. Why not? Decide to spend time intentionally single and throw yourself a party for it. Delete all the dating apps and throw yourself a party for it. Go out. Cheers your friends. Cheers to the fact that you are committing to deepening your relationship with yourself, which is the most important one you'll ever have. I cannot say that enough. Let's celebrate the fact that you are making the brave choice of investing in you, because it's not normalized in this culture, and you might get some weird looks. You might get people in your life who question why you're not dating and why you're focusing on you, who say that you're selfish, who ask you like, when are you going to settle down? When are you going to give me grandchildren? You'll probably get reactions like that. So it's a brave thing to hold firm in your knowing that this is the right move for you, that establishing a solid sense of self is going to lead to a healthier relationship down the road. If you are curious to learn more about what it looks like to do life on a different timeline, to be single in your 30s, to choose to be intentionally single for a period of time, or to learn more about holistic healing and somatic therapy to heal your past relationship patterns, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel to get updates about all future videos. And you can check out the resources in the comments below if you're excited to dive deeper into this work. See you in the next video.